I think it's fair to say that no one can stand the star of this movie. This is truly, she has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go.
The movie apparently is not very good. I haven't seen it yet. I would be shocked if it were.
I know this point has been made, but this truly is the worst casting maybe in the history of the film industry.
Imagine investing billions into a movie so hyped, so heavily marketed that it had to succeed, only for it to completely collapse into a national embarrassment. Now, picture the face of that disaster, a rising star who just months ago seemed unstoppable, publicly breaking down as everything she touched started turning to dust.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
That's exactly what's happening right now with Rachel Zegler and Snow White. The meltdown isn't just viral, it's historic. But what exactly went so wrong? And why is Disney acting like Snow White never even happened? Let's dive straight into it, because trust me, this story is more twisted than you think.
Every time she opens her mouth, it's crisis mode when it comes to Disney, having to backtrack. She talks about how this isn't a fairy tale about falling in love with the prince. This is a fairy tale about fighting your own battle.
Disney's Snow White was essentially a box office dud.
Rachel Zegler, once hailed as a Hollywood golden girl, has hit a point so low that even industry insiders are stunned. Disney, yes, the same company that once proudly paraded her as the future of its live-action princess universe, has now quietly started removing Snow White from shelves and theaters across the country.
Because Rachel Zegler is a PR nightmare.
It's like the movie never existed. No grand announcement, no spin, just silence, as if they're sweeping a massive failure under the rug. Billions of dollars vanished. Entire marketing campaigns gone to waste. And behind it all stands Rachel, who now faces the brutal reality that her career may never recover. After months of brutal reviews, empty premieres, and endless online mockery, Rachel's emotional stability seems to be hanging by a thread, collapsing live for the world to see. It's not just about one bad movie anymore. It's about an entire image unraveling in real time. And you know things are dire when even movie theaters, who are contractually forced to show your film, start openly rebelling. That's exactly what happened with Snow White. Theater owners, desperate to stop bleeding money, reported abysmally low attendance rates even during weekend showings, the times that usually guarantee packed houses. Some pleaded with Disney to let them pull the movie early. Others didn't even bother asking. They just yanked Snow White off screens and replaced it with literally anything else that could bring in more than a handful of people. One viral clip sealed the deal. A fan walked into a 2 p.m. showing and filmed an almost completely empty theater. The vibe wasn't quiet screening. It was closer to school assembly that everyone forgot to attend. Disney's Dream reboot had officially turned into a public joke. If you thought the humiliation stopped at American borders, think again. Overseas, the backlash was even worse. Lebanon didn't just pull Snow White from theaters, they banned it entirely. No screenings, no physical media, no streaming imports. It wasn't just ticket sales that collapsed. The merchandise situation is somehow even more embarrassing. Disney thought they could create fake demand by releasing limited batches of Snow White dolls, t-shirts, mugs, and assorted merch, hoping collectors would scoop them up in a frenzy. Instead, those shelves stayed stocked, month after month. Full displays of untouched Snow White merchandise became a depressing monument to how thoroughly the movie had failed. At this point, Disney probably couldn't give that stuff away for free. The collectors stayed home, the kids weren't interested, and the general public wasn't just disinterested, they were actively avoiding anything related to Rachel Zegler's Snow White. When even your co-stars start distancing themselves publicly, you know things are bad. Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, delivered what many saw as a masterclass in throwing shade without technically breaking any PR rules. In interviews, Gal spoke vaguely about a lack of teamwork, exhausting setbacks, and a general disconnect between the movie and fan expectations. Translation: chaos behind the scenes. When pressed further, Gal refused to outright defend Rachel, instead saying she'd speak about it when she felt comfortable. That one sentence was enough to set the internet on fire. Fans immediately took it as confirmation that the on-set experience was a nightmare, and that Gal, usually the consummate professional, had simply chosen silence over exposing the full mess. For now, imagine working for months on a Disney movie, only to have your lead co-star casually suggest in interviews that all your scenes might be cut. That's exactly what happened to Andrew Burnap. Rachel Zegler herself joked at a press event that Andrew's entire role might not survive the final cut. And surprise, surprise. When Snow White finally premiered, Andrew didn't even bother showing up. No red carpet, no press tour, no public support. It's hard not to see the connection. Whether Rachel meant to disrespect him or not, the damage was done. The energy surrounding the film wasn't just awkward, it was toxic. Even among the cast, the cracks were showing. Behind closed doors, Disney was making big decisions, and Rachel Zegler was paying the price. Tangled, which was supposed to be their next billion-dollar live-action reboot, was quietly shelved without so much as a teaser trailer or announcement. Early insider reports suggested Rachel was the frontrunner to play Rapunzel, but after the Snow White disaster, Disney wanted no part of another risky, expensive project centered around her. They didn't just reconsider casting her, they scrapped the entire reboot. Disney wasn't just cutting ties with Rachel, they were strategically repositioning their brand, and it became crystal clear that Rachel was now seen as radioactive. When the backlash crescendoed, Rachel Zegler took to Instagram, posting tearful clips trying to salvage her image. She talked about her flaws and breaks, pleading for fans to stick by her despite everything. Then came the infamous theater moment. Rachel showed up to a screening of her own movie, flowers in hand, smiling like it was a celebration, only to be met with a practically empty theater. The video quickly became a meme sensation. People joked it was like a funeral, not a premiere. Captions like Snow White and the 7 empty seats flooded social media. What Rachel had intended as a proud moment instantly backfired, locking her deeper into internet infamy. The numbers told the story loud and clear. Even with Disney's powerhouse marketing machine pushing it globally, Snow White couldn't even cross the $100 million domestic box office mark. For a Disney princess movie, that's catastrophic. The movie's IMDb score tanked, becoming one of the lowest ever recorded for a modern Disney live-action release. Critics ripped it apart. Fans trashed it even harder. Rachel wasn't being praised for modernizing Snow White anymore. She was getting blamed for butchering a beloved classic and turning audiences against the very idea of Disney reboots. And in Hollywood, perception can be deadlier than failure itself. If all of that wasn't brutal enough, the final humiliation came when the live-action Minecraft movie, a film people mocked before it even opened, absolutely obliterated Snow White at the box office. Minecraft didn't try to lecture audiences. It didn't force politics into the plot. It gave people exactly what they wanted: fun, nostalgia, and escapism. Meanwhile, Rachel's version of Snow White struggled to scrape past the triple-digit mark globally. Hollywood insiders took notice. Studios reportedly began reconsidering future projects with Rachel, and Disney itself seemed ready to move on entirely. From rising star to public scapegoat, Rachel Zegler's fall from grace might be one of the fastest Hollywood has seen in years. And with The Simpsons and Family Guy reportedly lining up their own savage parodies, the worst may still be yet to come.